By a bell.
Okay.
An O.
2 O's.
I'll solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your hat.
Christopher.
Y'all know what it is, right?
No.
650.
G.
No G. Thomas. Uh-oh, the bankrupt got you. Laura, you have another shot at it. You can spin the wheel and try to solve the puzzle.
I'll solve.
Okay.
Another feather in your lap.
No. Although the feather is moving around. Christopher.
Y'all know what it is now?
No.
No.
No. Thomas.
You know it's not cap, gap, lap.
Thomas.
Rat?
The D.
Laura, you have another opportunity here. You can spin the wheel. You can try to solve the puzzle. What do you want to do? Go ahead and spin if you don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and spin.
Don't get buzzed out here on time.
She's got this wrong twice. In my opinion, this is really, really obvious.
Well, what letter would you like?
A P?
Yes, there's a P. Spin or solve.
I will solve.
Okay.
Oh.
Another feather in your cap.
In your map.
Bitch, what?
That's not even make no sense.
You know, that old map feather.
Oh, my goodness. The bankrupt got you. Thomas, you have no money. I don't know. You're going to spin? You're gonna
I'll spin.
Are these people just going to keep getting it wrong?
So what letter would you like?
A C.
Is there a C up there anywhere? There you go. You want to solve
He had
this?
to make
I'll
sure.
solve. Another feather in your cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
was about to kill my bro.
That's maybe the biggest L I've ever seen in Wheel of Fortune. I'm not a big.
How
Wheel
much
of Fortune
money did she
enthusiast.
lose by being stupid?
I don't know. Let's go back and check.
Oh my goodness.
Let's see. How much does she have at the beginning of this? At least $6,300, if not much more.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I would be just as lost as her. Except for the map part. I would never in my life see no shit like that.
Yeah. Look, like I understand the pressure of being in front of like a large national stage, right? Live on TV and everything. Fun game show. Lots of pressure. You're going to say some dumb stuff. But to say some dumb stuff that many times consecutively is just nothing short of absolutely hilarious to me.
Jacob, why are you biting your lip like that?
He saw the
kind of doing something to me right now.
The girl who does the
What?
letters on Wheel of Fortune.
Oh man,
It's all that Tinder he's been doing on the pre-show. This whole pre-show segment, it was just Jacob telling us about his Tinder swiping. That's what's got him biting his lip.
You could have used the word escapades in there. It would have been good. His
I don't
Tinder
even know what-
escapades.
Normally, I'm the
Your
vocabulary guy.
bag is too deep, man.
I think I'm a vocabulary guy. You see me in deep dives saying bullshit all the time. I don't even know half the words I'd be saying in those things.
I know literally every single deep dive. Like I was watching one of your videos the other day, and you said like, I think I do this too, or at least when I consistently make videos, I say shit whenever I'm talking about basketball to normal people or whatever that comes directly from videos. Certain like phrases or like sentences. Mm-hmm. I noticed that you do
phrases like another feather in your cap, right?
Yes, or rose tinted glasses. I didn't know what the fuck that meant, dude. What the fuck is that? Rose tinted glasses.
It's a pretty funny little motif of all of our time potting together. Mojo will normally come away learning a word.
Well, that's legit. One of my favorite quotes from anything is in BoJack Horseman. A girl that was dating BoJack, her name escapes me right now. When they break up, she goes, I guess when you look at someone through rose tinted glasses, red flags just look like flags.
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah.
That's fucking art. Oh my goodness.
And rose tinted glasses is like you're blinded to the bad stuff and you're looking at
I'm
everything
gonna have
too
to put that in
favorably.
my bag of tricks right now. Thank you.
Why do you always have fucking props? I saw a clip the other day from an old podcast where you were like, you got caught in 4K and you pulled out this camera from like 1984.
That was
Yeah,
awesome. I loved that. I know what you're talking about. That's a iconic Mojo moment.
All right, I think we need an intro, Rudy.
Oh yeah, welcome to the Shootaround, everybody. Shout out to the 39 or so in the chat. If you are in this live chat right here, right now, go ahead and drop a like. It helps us out a lot. If you're watching the recorded version of this show at any date in the future, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe. You know, we do this twice a week, giving you all the basketball news you need and nothing else. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of other bullshit on this show. But you're going to get all the basketball news you need at the very least. And, you know, get a little bit closer to us in the process. How's everybody doing tonight? I see we got a key in the chat, legend of the show. Yeah, it says Sixers are winning the chip. I told him to see the last episode, according to that.
I'm not going to lie. That team is scary, especially if James Harden keeps playing like James Harden that we used to know.
Yeah, that team was scary, and I'm starting to raise my at the Milwaukee Bucks. Their record these last 20 games has been highly suspect.
Yeah, I mean, I've had we got that at the Bucks Nets game 4.
Mm-hmm.
I had my feelings of I really felt like James Harden was going to be a lot better on the Sixers, and seems like that's the case. I was like, there's just something about him with a non-ball handling star that I think was always the best situation for him. And it just makes sense that it's going the way that it is. And I also feel like, I think I put this in the group chat when I was writing the script. I was like, I can't tell if this is genius or I'm talking out of my ass, but it was the whole time of possession take. And it was basically, Rudy's message just distracted me. Rudy messaged me something in the chat. I'll check that in a second. It was I feel like just the fact that Joel Embiid scores in a way that generally, if Embiid catches the ball, some sort of thing has happened within 5 seconds. He's not going to hold the ball and dribble all day. He's catching that ball, he's scoring, or he's passing immediately. And that kind of decisiveness, whereas with Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving, they would just hold the ball the whole damn possession. Right. I feel like it's just more built for James Harden's play style because he can be the guy who holds the ball the whole damn possession if someone has to do that.
Yeah, I suppose that sort of leads into there's only one ball theory that you were saying about Nets, which is like a cliche, right? It's like the always go-to criticism of any super team as soon as it's built is well, someone's going to have to take a step back. But really, when you think about it more systemically and more in detail, you're right. Time of possession is really more important than how many points get scored. Yeah, that sounds much better. But get a little closer to the mic or maybe turn up the gain.
Do
or
I
something.
sound good?
Yeah, now you sound real good.
You sound good. And what helps with that is that someone like Tyrese Maxey, I said this before in one of my draft videos. I was talking about how I think it was talking about Kentucky guards, Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker, and just how Jamal, they're just so fucking deep, and all the great guards, a lot of the great guards come out of Kentucky. Tyrese Maxey was one of them. And I was talking about how Tyrese Maxey is a match made in heaven for someone like Ben Simmons. Tyrese Maxey's not the greatest when it comes to his passing vision. Of course, he's improved a lot in my eyes, but having to play with someone like James Harden, again, someone who's ball dominant and can swing and just do a lot of alleviate a lot of stress from Tyrese Maxey is just a beautiful sight. And I just love the pairing. I absolutely love the pairing. And it's still mind-boggling that they still didn't have to get rid of Tyrese in order to get James Harden.
It's not that mind-boggling to me because James Harden as an asset is the worst as an asset he has probably ever been.
Yeah, that is true. Now you put it like that.
Well, actually, I don't know. Did the Rockets give away? I think the Rockets probably gave up less to trade for Harden when it was Kevin Martin and I don't even remember what the rest of the package was. I think it was 2 first-round picks.
It was Jeremy Lamb.
Jeremy Lamb, and he was a lottery pick the year prior. So, but a lottery pick last year, Kevin Martin, who is a perennial 20-point scorer, but like kind of like a Danilo Gallinari 20-point scorer, not like a star 20-point scorer.
Like, he's like a 20-point scorer that's going to give up another 30 on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit too much of a discredit, but it's a weird thing where there's like we'll say a player averages 20, and we're like, okay, that's like the benchmark of being a star, but then we'll have guys like Lou Williams or Tobias Harris or Danilo Gallinari or Kevin Martin who reach that threshold, but they're not that type of guy. Anyways, gave up those two, and then I think it was 2 picks in that trade. Is that not more than Ben Simmons, Andre Drummond, Seth Curry, and 2 first-round picks? I feel like that's less. So actually, this trade was still more for James Harden than when the Rockets trade for him from OKC.
Damn,
I don't know why I had to go through that whole thing in my head. That's completely irrelevant. But I was talking myself through it. My bad.
2 W for Daryl Morey. You just adding on to his list, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Daryl
follows
Morey
me on
is,
Twitter. That's another W. More so for me.
I feel like he's
into NFTs, so that's an L.
I was about to say he's probably the only definitively good GM, like a man who makes very few mistakes. But the only big blemish on his resume is Russell Westbrook, but apparently he was forced to do that. So yeah, which makes it all the more hilarious, honestly, because it's like a big kind of F you to management that's like forcing his hand, right? To be like, oh, so you want me to do this? I have no choice. All right, I'll use all the picks I can just to spite you. I'll make my job harder to make your life worse.
I will say though, that Rockets team with PJ Tucker at center, I will attest that team can work in some universe.
Yeah,
I fully believe
the
that
Warriors
team
goddamn exist. That's it.
I fully believe that team works in some universe. It's just not the one that we live in. Simply
because of like how dominant the Warriors were. I think outside of like the Warriors, the 2018 Warriors with Kevin Durant that Rockets team was one of the best teams in NBA history. And no one cares. No one's gonna remember that just because they got that ass whipped.
I mean, it's probably Chris Paul's best team ever, right? I mean, outside of maybe like some of those early Hornet squad with like all-star grade David West and early Tyson Chandler on this team, that's a pretty good compliment to a young Chris Paul. But late stage Chris Paul, that Rockets team's definitely the best he's been on. But I still think Chris Paul is an elite player. I still think Chris Paul has like an argument for being a quote unquote better player than James Harden. Which I know is going to drive a key crazy. And I'm the de facto Harden hater between the three of us. So
wait, I'm sorry. What's the take?
I still think there's a decent argument to say that Chris Paul is sometimes at least a better player than James Harden. I mean, you look at the Suns versus Harden's last few stops.
This is why you edit.
I'm not editing anymore. I'm live.
You and Rudy, did you see his eyes when he said, "I'm not editing anymore. I am live."
He said that like I'm in control now. You have no power over me.
I said, Rudy, a damn dumbass.
I was about to say I have the power to put Noah's comment on the screen and mute your mic. So be careful.
Yeah, you wild for that one, Rudy. My goodness.
Rudy power trips the whole episode, whole podcast. That's the bit. Rudy is the monster ego machine behind everything.
Right.
Yeah, I can't save you from that one, Rudy. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. In what way like CP3 better than James Harden at bat? I don't get it.
I mean, I'd say
they both use dirty tricks to.
I think peak Chris Paul. Maybe you want to make an argument. Peak Chris Paul and peak James Harden are like in a similar-ish ballpark. But James Harden right now is absolutely better than Chris Paul. And on the 2018 Rockets, James Harden was definitely better than Chris Paul.
See, like I love arguing that based on the 2018 playoffs and the absence of Chris Paul, which resulted in their loss, it's like, oh, that's why he's
Yeah, and I love being actually logical and saying you could make the same argument if you swap those two out.
Right, for sure.
Like if it was just Chris Paul and no James Harden. Yeah, I remember having this discussion with you at the time. I forgot this was a thing. I don't like being reminded of it. Let's find another fucking topic.
All right, well, before we do that, shout out to the 81 in the chat right here. Okay.
Yeah.
We got 81. Just drop a like. We should see at least 81 likes on this.
Yeah, I shared it on my community post, and then I shared it on Twitter. So that seems to have done some stuff.
Go ahead.
We are here for your marketing efforts.
Now we have to make sure to keep them around. Let's not fuck this up.
Mojo, did you see the post that I made in the chat about the podcast where I said that you and Donovan Mitchell have something in common?
It was the chaser.
No.
Yeah. y'all are both into like weird flavors, man.
What are you talking about?
Between your love for like cheese on Pop-Tarts and things like that.
He doesn't actually love that shit. That's a bit. I think it's a bit.
Hey, go ahead. When we're in Atlanta, pull one up. Give me cheese and a Pop-Tart. Swear to God, I'm eat it. My stomach be tore up all the time for a reason. Like literally the number, like whenever I tell you guys I have to go, it's almost 100% of the time it's to the bathroom.
Look, all I'm saying is that Donovan Mitchell does not deny Josh Hart's story of giving him chocolate milk to chase vodka.
Dude, I don't understand
because I gave off the same vibes as cheese on a Pop-Tart.
I'm not a big alcohol person. Very much in favor of weed if I'm going to get myself intoxicated. But alcohol has such a punch to it and a specific feel that like the idea of anything milky, like a thicker liquid, last thing I want to be chasing alcohol with. Like I need like soda or something as a chaser.
Bro, one time my girlfriend's mom, she's like an alcohol enthusiast.
That's a nice way of saying alcoholic.
Is she a wine mom?
Huh?
She a left love type?
Dude, their last name involves the word wine. So it's just like it's written right. It's already written. On New Year's Day, I had I don't know what the fuck it's called, but it was like some liquor mixed with like some white chocolate. It was the best thing ever because I couldn't really taste it. I don't know what's
like a White Russian.
Yes.
Oh yeah, honestly, dude, White Russians are dope.
I've never had that.
After I had a bunch of that was the first time I've ever threw up off of anything.
I'm harnessing my inner Post Malone. What the hell does that mean?
I'm glad you saw that at the same time I did. That's a great comment, Jamie.
Why?
Why not? Chat. You are. You
swag, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Your face tattoos okay, man.
This is Post Malone fit. I'm wearing a Kurt Cobain shirt and this. So yeah, I don't know. People have told me I look like him quite often.
Look, man, you all look alike as far as I'm concerned.
When are you gonna get your goddamn
wow
Post Malone?
He said, shut up. I said you all look the same to me.
Oh shit.
To be clear, Rudy was talking about me.
I know.
Let's make that abundantly clear.
So I guess that's added on to your long list of lookalikes. You got Zubac, you got Post Malone. Who else did they say?
Fez from Euphoria. I don't even fucking watch that show.
Tomas Todaransky for some
Mac Miller. I get that one quite a bit. Aaron Paul, which I'm very happy for Aaron Paul because literally the reason I got a buzz cut was Aaron Paul.
That's fire.
I was like, the reason I want to get this is because I want to look like that dude. So give me that one. Anyways, what's our topic here? What we got?
Well, I saw that Mojo. Well, first of all, we're gonna hang on this look like a little one first because VinCat posted that. Apparently, I look like Pete Davidson, Post Malone, top 4, or fucking Rudy, Pete Davidson, Post, and Jack Harlow, the type 4 white men. Oat debatable of all time. I said oat. Whatever.
Maybe with some birth defects.
I strongly disagree.
Pete Davidson. Everybody goes after that guy for his looks. That is not an unattractive man. He's not bad looking. But here's the thing: he's a decent enough looking in the face, but he's ripped. He's 6'4". He's covered in tattoos, which to me is always a good look, and he's extremely funny and rich. I mean, He's
We're
doing
not
better
talking
than
about none
you.
of that shit. We're just talking
So,
about looks.
but look, what pisses me off about him is some
That's
people are like,
attractiveness you're talking about right there.
yeah, what pissed me off about him is so many people are like, man, Pete Davidson is pulling these women, and what are we doing wrong? It's like, you're not on Pete Davidson's level. You don't make $5 million a year, work at SNL, are 6'4", and ripped and famous and extremely comedically talented. Fuck off.
I've heard people say that like Pete Davidson and Michael B. Jordan are really good examples of like toxic masculinity's image of an attractive man. You know, it's like these are people that men think that women find attractive, but women are actually not that attractive to them in general. You know, speaking
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff
terms.
about Rusty is Seth Rogen with short hair. That's disgusting.
Damn, you gotta block him right now. What the fuck?
I mean, Seth Rogen is not the worst looking human being alive. Pete Davidson is not ripped; he's just skinny. You know what? That's probably fair.
I've never.
Do you know?
like
I hate
that.
to mention him in the Alec Baldwin. He has some story with Pete Davidson, where Alec Baldwin was on SNL, and he asked Pete Davidson how he was in such good shape, and Pete goes, I didn't know how to tell him that I just have a good metabolism, so I lied, and it was like, I do 100 push-ups and sit-ups a day. And then he did that, and he lost like 50 pounds. But he's like, I was bullshitting him. I don't work out.
Holy shit.
So Pete Davidson is extremely funny. He's extremely underrated. I don't know why I'm going to bat for Pete Davidson right now. But
I know, bro, riding dumbass hard right now. Or what? God damn.
what shoe size is Rusty? I am a size 14. You know what they say about big feet?
Big socks.
No, I don't. Yeah, big shoes.
You know what they say about big feet? You can't find any shoes in your size at the fucking store.
Speaking
All
of shoe size,
Did y'all see King of the Fourth Quarter on TNT?
I did not, but
Unfortunately
it's becoming a common thing for him at this point. So
yeah, I know it's not the first time. It's happened quite a few times at this point.
it's definitely not the first time. I usually like Tuesdays and Thursdays are like the highlight of my week because I usually get out of class and like I'm just set for the whole next night. I can stay up as long as I want. And I usually, or not usually because he doesn't show up every time, but whenever he's on there, I catch it. But yesterday I didn't get to catch it because I was doing some fucking work shit. And I caught like the last 20, 30 seconds of it, and that shit is just phenomenal to see. Why are you laughing?
I wasn't. I was swallowing.
Shit,
It gives me hope. It's always cool to see that shit. I don't know. I don't have much of a take outside of that, but we're always rooting for Kenny, and he's kind of like I've described him before as like the blueprint. Like
quite literally.
I'm always watching what he's doing to see
what you should do next.
Yeah,
exactly. I think he's a blueprint, and like when it comes to just, I don't know what your plans are, like Jacob, in the future, but I know my plans from the jump were to like I never wanted to be on YouTube forever. I didn't want to be on YouTube forever. I always liked YouTube and wanted to be a part of YouTube forever, but like let it be my main thing. Nah, I don't know why, but it just was never like it was never the end goal. Being on TNT or whatever other like networks and companies. Now that just like allows you to push yourself into like a whole new realm, and you get opportunities that you can't get on YouTube working for yourself. And this is just another.
For me, area. my aspirations go beyond even basketball. Like, really, deep dives to me are just my way of filmmaking. Like, filmmaking is something that is like my number one aspiration. Is I would love to be a director.
Yeah,
write and direct movies. That to me is way more. Like, to me, that's what I want to do at this point. But like, there's a lot of steps to get to that point. But one of my goals for this year is to write a screenplay for a movie idea that I've had for fucking 4 years now. Holy
I think
shit.
I've heard it like at least 3 times already.
Yeah, I came to the idea for that movie like when I was like 17. And I'm 22, so that's 5 years. Fuck me, I'm 22 as of yesterday. So
yeah, how was your birthday, by the way?
I mean, the day before I rushed my dog to an emergency room, so it wasn't the best, but it's fine. I don't really care about my birthday, really. Rudy, what's going on with your face cam, man? You look like
It looks better now.
Someone said you're in 2009 YouTube. No, it was better for a second, but it's right back to being bad.
Yeah, bro, recording off of a fucking potato right now.
Yeah,
I think
it's just a product of me being the host of the stream. I need to upgrade my internet package or some shit.
Oh my god, this is rough.
For me, it looks fantastic. I'm sure it's not. But
you look like you're in 140p, and me and Mojo are in 4K.
Yeah, literally. Literally.
I honestly think me and Mojo look so good that it makes you look even worse. If it could stay at that right there, you're good. But it seems like the more you talk, the worse it gets. So just be quiet and look pretty.
I can do that, I think.
Be quiet and look.
I mean, you do have to introduce the topics, but other than that.
Right. I'm just here for segues, man. Speaking of which, did you see the article I posted about Zion being a must-trade target for the Warriors this offseason?
No,
that is wild.
I don't read articles, just headlines, and then overreact to them.
Right.
That article was made by the company I work for, Clutch Points, and I don't know anybody in that department or anything like that, but that is wild. I don't know where that came from. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Well, for clicks, it's actually a good idea because, obviously got us to talk about it. But just the thought of Zion they don't have the juice like that. They just don't.
I mean, I scanned the article. I admit I didn't read every word of it, but I was looking at it before we went live, and basically what it was suggesting is that the Warriors are talented enough to retain Zion, like in a big enough market, exciting enough.
Definitely.
And B, have the young talent as assets in order to move.
Who the hell wants James Wiseman? Kuminga, I understand, but I don't want Wiseman on my team. Like, I know that's going to be a part of the package. I know it for sure will be.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip my whole thing I always do with Wiseman, which is I just don't think he's gonna be good. So I'll have to go on that route again.
even aside from Wiseman, sure, he might be a foundational piece, but there's other pieces like Moses Moody, right? And
yeah, and also, it drives me crazy when Warriors fans are like, man, we haven't had Wiseman back yet. Like, he's gonna make a fucking difference.
They holding on to that like his NBA debut.
It's like Lakers fans with Kendrick Nunn. It's like they're like, man, Kendrick Nunn though. Do you think Kendrick Nunn is fixing that?
A 119-point performance last year in Brooklyn makes them like see any type of hope. No.
Wow, he had 119?
No, 19. Did I say 119?
No,
wow.
You said 119.
Oh, well, 119 point
performance. 1,19. Yeah, I know what you meant, but I thought it was funny.
But I just don't think they have the juice at all for that. I'd rather look at the Atlanta Hawks trade package. The any other team trade packages sound, not any other team, but most teams trade packages sound better. I think that's interesting. Zion and Curry on the same team, depending on how healthy Zion
and Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and Nikola Vucevic on the same team.
Dude, Zion and Trey on the same team?
No. First one. What I said, not you.
No. That is just disgusting. But that's interesting to think about. But
I mean, I have thoughts about the Bulls going into this offseason because I'm kind of like down on them now. Like, I'm kind of
y'all winning. What happened? Y'all, did you get? You know what? You're becoming too ungrateful right now.
I'm still happy with the season, but like I'm starting to feel less and less like that contender talk is like legit.
This is the thing about humans.
There's a lot.
You're never satisfied.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I have 200K subscribers right now, and if you would have told me that a few years ago, I'd have been like, "Holy shit, I've made it!" And now I'm like, "Bitch, why don't I have 300?" Yeah. But like, there's rumors that Arturas Karnisovas, the president of basketball operations, Mark Eversley is the GM. Okay. He is apparently making a lot of effort to make Nikola Jokic to Chicago happen.
That would be very, very good, but I don't see how that's even possible.
I would nut every pair of pants that I own.
Jokic and LaVine?
It would go, my house would be flooded. I'd have to pay someone to get it out of this house.
Isn't that just a little gross?
I see no way like Jokic doesn't end up with like the Nuggets for at least 90%.
Yeah,
of the
it's a
tour.
pipe dream, but it's one that I'm
Yeah.
going to hold on to.
That dude took some crazy psychedelic shrooms, man.
Also, the Lakers might be rebuilding, and that could mean AD coming home to Chicago.
Oh, one thing that I did make a piece for Clutch Points, talking about how, you know what I'm saying, at this point with the Lakers, everything should be on the table except for like LeBron, because you just can't trade LeBron in my mind because he's LeBron. But I was like, even Anthony Davis, he should be looked at maybe not as like a thrown out there consistently as a trade piece, but he should definitely be allowed to be in talks just to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Is that wild to say?
Well, LeBron isn't tradable until he is. Like, you can't trade LeBron until you do. So, like I think we're saying this like, oh yeah, you can't trade LeBron, but like you can though, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers did. I would be, but like, you know what I mean.
You would have to, yeah. That
I mean, like let's say they trade.
Who has the balls to do that?
If you trade AD, then trade LeBron. You might as well, like, because I don't know you're going to get anything better than AD, other than maybe you want to make the argument for like availability versus who's better. But yeah,
what I mean, like, what if Damian Lillard snaps out of it just out of nowhere?
Man, what does Portland want with Anthony Davis?
Dame, I guess Dame could force his way. You know how stars be doing; they can force their way into certain places.
I guess
to be a place.
I guess.
And having Joe Ingles, wow, Anthony Simons, wow, Josh Hart.
Joe Ingles ain't there. Let's get that straight right now. Joe Ingles is not in Portland. He ain't even moving away from Utah.
Yeah, Joe Ingles is in Portland, like Andre Iguodala was in Memphis.
Yeah, basically.
like Goran Dragic was in Toronto.
On the Raptors. Yeah.
Like LaMelo or Carmelo Anthony was in Atlanta Hawk.
I don't know if Goran even crossed the border.
Definitely not. Hard no.
I'm pretty sure he actually literally played games for them, but let's ignore that for the bit.
No, I don't think he did.
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
Nope, not in the canon of this podcast.
Okay, fair enough.
But you know who will be playing in Toronto should the playoffs lead it that way? Is Kyrie Irving. That's a potential playoff matchup. And according to the news, Woj bomb that came out earlier this week, it is basically an inevitability that New York or whoever, it's going to legislate however they need to legislate in order to allow Kyrie Irving to play home games in the playoffs.
You see, that is so confusing to me because, like, honestly, I feel like no one knows what's going on because I remember a couple weeks ago, last month maybe, people were talking about, or the Nets were saying, oh, they may be willing to pay like a $5,000 fee for every playoff game that Kyrie decides to play in Brooklyn. Wasn't that a thing? So I think it is inevitable.
Yeah, I saw that as news for
yeah, but then I think
someone was gonna be like, yeah, no way.
I think that was debunked because it was relative to the scale of the work that was done, and that's a large scale job, obviously. So yeah, I don't know.
I think he's playing in the playoffs. I just think he is.
Yeah, I think he's definitely playing, away games regardless. There's no getting around that as long as you're going to tighten down on Kyrie.
Well,
loosening it up enough to where he's basically the only unvaccinated player in the NBA other than maybe Michael Porter Jr. And he's playing in the playoffs every game, making headlines, doing big shots, doing this Kyrie stuff. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm pretty sure Kyrie can't play in Golden State.
Yeah, there are going to be.
If the Warriors met him in the finals.
Yeah, he won't be able to play in Toronto either. No way.
Well, Toronto, they're not going to play Toronto. The seeding that way is just not going to happen. So I don't know why that was your segue. That's a potential matchup. No, it's not. They're the 7 and 8 seed right now.
Anything is possible. Okay.
They might play each other in a play-in game. That's it.
There we go. Now we're talking. But yeah, I feel like if anything else, keeping Kyrie in home games in the playoffs is gonna kind of lessen the effect of him being the face of anti-vaxxers. I feel like it takes away attention from the fact that he hasn't been playing home games.
Even regardless of where you fall on that discussion, I would like it to be over. I don't even care anymore. I just don't want to talk.
I don't know anybody who confidently has the Nets as serious championship favorites anymore. There's just too much going on with
it's not that. I just don't like feeling like I'm about to step on a landmine anytime I talk about Kyrie Irving. It's just not fun.
Yeah. It's super complicated discourse around Kyrie Irving for sure. I want to know more about it and have a better understanding, but I'm still working on developing my understanding of Kyrie as an individual, honestly, much less just like, or even more so, excuse me, this whole situation. I feel like he's probably a decent like teammate and like fun dude to be around and shit, but it's just annoying to have all these stories around him circling that are like very non-basketball. You know, they're only interesting because of basketball.
I know. I think this is happening. I think this is like me. I know the jokes are going to be all over this, but like I feel like this is me becoming an old man where I encounter a conversation that I know I will gain nothing from participating in it. So I'm just like, I'm not going to bother.
Like most basketball conversations are like that in my mind.
The other day, there was some Giannis versus AD posts. Or no, it was Giannis versus It was Kevin Durant. And the only thing that drives me crazy about people saying Kevin Durant is the best player in the game is when they say he's obviously the best player in the game. If you say Kevin Durant's number one, I'm good with that. But if you act like there is some huge gap between between Kevin Durant and Giannis or Jokic or Steph when he remembers how to shoot the ball, when that shit happens, that's what drives me nuts. But the take was like from Skip Bayless, and it was like, Giannis is not in the same tier as Kevin Durant. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's because Giannis is better. But immediately, like 15 quote tweets, and like the tweet got good engagement. Plenty of people were on my side. But it's like, I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this fucking headache. So I delete the tweet. I'm not participating in this discourse because I gain nothing from it. It's not worth it.
Engagements, like you just said. What do you mean?
I don't give a fuck, man. Twitter's not paying my bills.
Yet. You know, now with the Twitter super follows or whatever the fuck it's called.
I'm not fucking with any of that stuff. Like
that is crazy D writing. Twitter super follow. I don't know what the
yeah.
A little pro tag. I'm like,
look, I realize that like it's technically good to stir controversy, like for your own money and brand and views and stuff like that. Yeah, and I definitely did that in my earlier days on YouTube. But it's really two things. One, it comes with the headache. And then two, if you actually give a single fuck. And then two, I morally disagree with it. Like, I think the biggest problem with sports coverage is outrage for outrage's sake. So I try to avoid that entirely because I feel like it's hypocritical to do it myself. I understand the reasons behind it, but like Legend of Winning, when he made that
we
post,
just talked about the last podcast.
when he made that post where he's like, DeMar DeRozan shouldn't be an all-star starter. And what he meant was he shouldn't start at shooting guard because he's a small forward. The technicality was his actual take, but he said the blanket thing because he knew it would enrage everybody. Like, do that if you want, but that's not my route. I morally am opposed to that as a concept. I'd rather have honest, open basketball discussion. And if that means my video gets 10,000 less views, that means my video gets 10,000 less views. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I think that's righteous. I think that sort of sentiment is an even bigger problem in the real news media. Like sports news for me is kind of a safe space. A lot of people treat it that way too. So to get outraged over something that's isolated to basketball is ultimately just like a novel emotional experience. The stakes aren't really that high, you know, unless you're a gambling person. So I enjoy extremist sports takes. If they're in good faith. If people are just trolling for trolling's sake, then that's disingenuous. But I do feel like intentionally using outrage to leverage your platform onto something bigger is morally questionable for sure. I think it goes against like a universal sense of ethics because it's just utilitarianism. You're saying I'm going to use these people who are giving me attention in order to build my foundation of farming attention.
I mean, like you said before, when it's sports, the stakes are not as high. If you're doing that, if you're fucking being what's that called, a grifter? Is that the term that I'm using correctly? For like political discourse,
yeah,
that's a different conversation.
Real life shit or some tragedies happening,
But like
something of that
grifters are
nature.
like Alex Jones and shit like that, or
Jordan Peterson,
Pierce Morgan.
People getting oil money to say, Republican ass shit.
Yeah.
Millionaires getting paid by billionaires, Tucker Carlson, those guys.
And there's liberal versions of that too, but at least they're more right.
Trey says Candace Owens. That's a really good one. She's one of the biggest ones. But yeah, I mean,
fat guy, I can't remember.
I don't want to sound like a horseshoe theorist, but whenever I say shit like, "Oh, Republican shit," it's because they're the easiest to punch at. Democrats enable Republicans, and Republicans are just less mischievous about how shitty they are. So that's all there is to that.
Yeah. Let's not
the
get
next
into politics. Already getting enough trouble as it is.
Yeah. We'll just microdose it. Not make it a whole ass topic. Moving on to the next topic. In the notes, I just have Lakers, and that's what I put down here on our nice official little ticker.
I mean, that's been a topic all fucking season. That could be the number. Lakers would be appropriate from game 1 to now game 50 something. There is a show in LA every single time that team fucking plays, one way or the other, almost always in a negative.
Yeah, but the thing is, for me lately, I feel like the show in LA has at first funny as hell. Just seeing Westbrook do all these crazy things, and then just like the chaos and just how discombobulated the entire team feels. Don't move at it as a unit whatsoever. I feel like this show has been less entertaining now, and it's more like, well, damn, this is depressing. This is the Lakers, exactly. Like if I want to watch entertainment, like 3 months ago, I would watch the Lakers. I want to laugh and be like, "What the fuck was that?" Ha ha. Yeah, I watch the Lakers. Now I'm like, I don't want to watch them. I'd rather watch the Cavs or some shit like that.
Also, Russell Westbrook, man, especially early on with the Lakers, like I fully was like, dude, he's not even close to like the only issue. Like some people were like, Russell Westbrook. And they had some serious. My biggest problem with Russell Westbrook is confirmation bias. He is such an when things go wrong with Russell Westbrook, it stands out so much more than when things go wrong with like anybody else, right? Yeah. So there was that confirmation bias where if Russell Westbrook has a good game, silence. If he does some stupid shit, first post on Twitter, Russell Westbrook. But as defensive as I was of him early on, he averaged like 14 on like 32% shooting in February.
Yeah, I saw that stat too.
I can't fucking defend it anymore. Like he is awful. He has been awful this year.
64% from the free throw line. Good grief.
Yeah, it was like 30, 15, 60 splits on like 14 points per game.
Yeah, no, and it feels like I don't know, but it feels like even he is like mentally checked out.
Oh, for sure. It feels like everybody's mentally checked out.
Exactly. I just want to like treat it this is just a season to forget about.
I'll tell you what.
It didn't happen.
I don't know that there is another human being on earth who has more readable body language than LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron says more with his body than he does with his mouth.
I know exactly what clip made you say this too. There was this point in the game last night where he was boxing out, I think
we have the clip.
Smith. That's the clip that made you say that, right? And then he didn't get the ball at all. And then I think someone like Malik Monk went ahead and he threw a nasty brick up, and LeBron was just moping around, head dropped, like he was a fucking third grader who got let down.
That also happened in the Suns series with the Lakers. I think it was Game 6 where he like very blatantly showed how he felt.
He's just selling it.
I'm telling LeBron is a master at the non-answer. When you look at him in the media, he's so good at dodging questions or answering them in the most boring way possible. Like LeBron is a media masterpiece. You can play this while we're talking about it. So legitimately, LeBron says more with his body than he does with his words. This tells you more about how LeBron feels about this season.
Look at the head.
This tells you more about how LeBron feels about this season than anything he has said in the media. Than a single fucking thing. This tells you more. He's like, look at that.
That one was bad.
This body language is insane. It's really fucking funny to me. It's not even a criticism. It really isn't a criticism or a praise. It's just an observation. It is funny how hilarious.
And
how
things like
obvious
this is
his
what
body
draws
language
so much more like negative like attention towards any LeBron teammate. Whenever they do something wrong, like it's clear as day. Yo, dude is not happy.
Yeah, the way that he you can just tell how he feels, and I enjoy it personally. Some people criticize it like it'll make
What
the
type
team
of leader is this?
the team's more morale will go down or whatever. I'm like, man, it's already a sinking ship. What difference does it fucking make? And it's just entertaining, and it's nice to feel like you can get in a player's head because someone like Kawhi Leonard, he can be winning by 40 or losing by 40. He looks the fucking same. It doesn't make a damn difference. So, yeah, like literally the only time you see him celebrate was Game 7 game winner and winning a championship. That's it.
And even then,
hey, you know that championship celebration that's more or less so famous from LeBron. Cleveland, this is for you. For the longest time, I was under the impression that we lost that footage because the live broadcast didn't pick it up. They cut to the stadium right when he was screaming, so we didn't actually see LeBron yelling. But it seems like sort of recently, not like super recently, but like the past year or two, they've uncovered that archival footage. They've like found the tape or whatever and started using it in promo, which I think is super cool.
I thought the audio was available.
Yeah, we got the audio, but I think now in the past year or so,
that.
we have the visual, which I think is great.
Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you should. You should.
You should always trust Rudy implicitly. Everything he says is factual.
I mean, look at me. I enjoyed Muse trolling of the Lakers this season. They're a great. I like their troll tweets.
No,
they're hilarious.
Fuck Muse. I don't like Muse at all.
I like.
I don't like the shit they say. They're fucking lame.
I think both they're pretty off. I think their tool is really cool, like the actual.
I used it for the first time a couple of days ago. I was so confused.
I use it all the time when I'm looking up shit to like empirically verify shit that Rusty is saying in a video. In the past, I would just be lazy and screenshot it too.
And then you could. This is the thing that pisses me off about Rudy editing my videos. He could very easily like text me like, "Hey, you got this stat wrong." He goes, "No, I'm going to edit in the video. Here's the actual stat. Jacob's a fucking idiot." That's what it says in the text. And it's like,
this
by
is
the
value
way,
I bring to the channel. Okay,
but there's been times where I was right and he used the wrong fucking stat. Really? And he's like, "Man, you got it wrong." It's like, no, I specifically said this 15 game sample size. You did like 25 games. You got it fucking wrong.
And that's when you gotta diss me in the next video.
He's shitting on me. He's shitting on me in the video. He's like, "Man, you got the stat wrong. Look at Rusty. This fucking idiot got the stat wrong." It's like, no, you did, bitch. Where's your edit? Where's the edit making fun of you?
It's happened at least twice. I remember exactly one time when it happened.
This motherfucker gets paid the same. It doesn't make a damn difference.
Look, I'm improving the quality of the video, right or wrong.
True. Facts. You can't argue that.
There's a percentage of people that come to your videos just for me. I don't know them, but they exist.
I hate them. I would immediately get rid of that percentage of my audience.
one of the things of that, like that, what you're saying, where I was wrong and you're right, was when I just like got the window of time that Jamal Murray was out completely wrong, and so the stats I sampled from when like Michael Porter Jr. was getting those touches instead were a little bit off from what you were saying on video. And then you're like,
I think it was like a difference of like 18 points per game versus 25. So it's a pretty big difference between the point I was making. I was like, look how good MPJ has been out when Jamal wasn't there. And then he took stats from when Jamal was there. So the numbers were way down. My point was he's been balling out without Jamal there. And then he's like, no, here's these stats from when Jamal was fucking there. So it's completely contradictory to my point.
Right. That one's my bad. I'll own up to that one right here and now, about a year later.
Also, anytime I say anything about the Grizzlies, he finds a way to be sassy about it.
It's the only team I'm actually confident in my analysis of. Frankly.
And one of my in this video that I'm going to send you tomorrow, it's about the Lakers, and I talked about a hypothetical of them signing Tyus Jones. I can't wait to see what shit you have to say about Tyus Jones.
I mean, the NBA's current and forever leader in assist-to-turnover ratio, and it's not even close. Mm-hmm. I was looking at it today, and his assist-to-turnover ratio is 6.1. The next guy, 4.5.
Rudy, you know what that entire description looked like? You know that meme of like the guy talking to a girl at a party and she's not interested at all?
Yes.
That's what that. Tyus Jones's assist to turnover ratio is 4-1. All right, that's the best in NBA history. She's like, cool. I'm gonna go to the bar.
Oh yeah, I'm.
He just every time he mentions his Tyus, he always mentions his assist to
But
turnover
legit,
ratio. How he
Tyus,
makes no mistake.
Tyus,
But he's
Tyus
right.
cooked my fucking team the other day. Tyus destroyed the Bulls.
The
He-
dude makes like
was in
one
every
mistake a
fucking
game
three.
max. he
Yeah,
will
no,
never
he
make
was-
2 mistakes in a game.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on from Rudy and his many failures.
Yeah, the reason I was bringing up Stat Muse to begin with is
Yeah.
because speaking of the Grizzlies, Stat Muse tweeted that the Lakers are 6-14 since Desmond Bain said, "quote unquote," "them footsteps ain't scaring nobody," and that only the Rockets have fewer wins in that time span.
What was them footsteps scaring nobody? What was the context of that?
It was when the Grizzlies more or less beat the shit out of the Lakers,
And LeBron got into a scuffle with Desmond Bain.
yeah, and so Desmond Bain was like, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck about LeBron. And footsteps ain't scaring nobody," you know. And apparently that damaged LeBron's ego so bad that they're only better than the Rockets in the West. But they also tweeted about how the Lakers, prior to LeBron tweeting on January 16th, hashtag Laker Nation, I apologize, and I promise we'll be better. Crown emoji, purple heart, yellow heart. Prior to that, they were 21-22. Afterwards, they're 6-12. So the Lakers have been pretty rough in February and the latter half of January.
LeBron shoots himself in the foot a lot. That's his biggest thing. Is well, I guess the proper term. They both involve feet. So shout out Nicholas Henkel, putting a foot in his mouth. You like that shout out?
that was a masterclass in subtle shout-outs. Mention some roster moves right quick. Y'all can break them down if you feel the need, but they're very minor. They cut DeAndre Jordan in favor of signing DJ Augustine, and they also picked up some
Wenyan Gabriel.
Yeah, that guy.
You want to know what's one of the most aggressive, fucking not aggressive, depressing things I've ever read, or just like weird, just like why the Golden State Warriors are aggressively pursuing DeAndre Jordan.
Aggressively? How bad do you have to be?
That was the phrase.
I mean, the Sixers want him too.
That was the phrasing from Shams. It was they are aggressively pursuing DeAndre Jordan. I think the Sixers were also in the bid.
I feel disrespected.
But aggressively,
yeah.
Like literally, if they just said, hey, you should never say anything more than like, yeah, we'll take DeAndre Jordan, I guess.
That like, right there, that meme that you described, Rudy, that's literally James Wiseman and DeAndre Jordan. I mean, yeah, DeAndre Jordan too, right there. It's like aggressively, damn, that's extra. That's a little extra right there.
Yeah, nobody is aggressively pursuing DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah. I want to know, is DeAndre Jordan a clutch man, or is he under a different sports agency? He feels like a clutch man.
I don't know.
I don't feel like looking it up.
I don't feel like that's some shit we were supposed to know, but then LeBron just changed the game. Like, we're not supposed to know about NBA player agencies. That's supposed to be under wraps, but not anymore.
Now, as soon as any NBA player signs with Clutch or whatever, they'll go ahead.
Dude, I'm fucking nervous about it because of Zach LaVine.
Yeah. Wait, he's with them?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
He signed with them specifically to start this year, and he's up for a contract extension.
Clutch got the league on the fucking chokehold, and I love it.
I don't.
I like what they're doing in the
grand
grand scheme of things. I think it's really cool that NBA fans, even like average ones, are hip to the power structures and dynamics there with sports agents and players and ownership.
They're like the fucking mafia, dude. People they put fear in hearts.
And maybe it's because this was like becoming a thing as I became a fan, but like that logistical business stuff behind the scenes is almost as interesting to me as the sport. Like, so
that's the sport for me.
That's a whole other part of the interest to me.
Speaking of that, I just found a podcast just on Tuesday. I fucking love it now, and I'm gonna start watching it a lot more. It's with some Twitter dude named Josiah.
Josiah
he's a
Johnson?
dude. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. And the Gilbert Arenas, and then some former ESPN host. His name starts with the A. I don't know his name like that, but he was breaking down some NBA like contract intricacies, and also like he was saying he was just not making up a bunch of stuff, but he was putting out a lot of information that us fans do not talk about. And one of the things that he was talking about was contracting incentives and how that fucks over a lot of players, and eventually at the end scheme of things that fucks up their rhythm and also their team's rhythm. Like, I remember a couple years ago, while he was talking about this, I just thought about this. What's his name? Maurice Harkless. Yeah, Maurice Harkless. He had like a certain incentives in his contract.
If he shot 35% from three, he would get a $200,000 bonus. And he stopped taking threes at the end of the season because he wanted the bonus because he was like at 35.1%.
Exactly.
So
he was basically right at the money. And
he was like, for the last 5 games, he's like, I'm not taking a shot from outside.
Exactly.
It's not happening.
He stopped shooting. Exactly. And there's a lot. I have to send this to you because it's actually a great listen. I have to send this to you. So, but he was talking about how the NBA somehow, some way screwed over someone like Buddy Hield. He had like a $600,000 incentive or something of that nature, and a 3-pointer was not counted on the NBA official site. The play was ran back multiple times. Fans were confused. I'm not sure why it wasn't blown up to be a big thing, but on other sites and platforms that post NBA stats like ESPN, for example, the next biggest thing up, they counted that as a 3-pointer, and that just left a lot of people clueless. And guys, I forgot that dude's name. Goddamn, I really need to learn his name, but he pointed it out there that was not counted on purpose inside the Kings organization because they did not want to pay that man, Buddy Hield, another $600,000.
Yeah, that could be grounds for like a lawsuit for sure.
Yeah,
that's
great.
Yeah, that's so slimy.
Yeah,
incentives are so ass.
I would love to see a CBA where incentives are eliminated. But I also think it's questionable the way that we have non-guaranteed deals structured right now, because it sort of encourages the use of select players as pawns. no Kyrie for ownership to make moves, like when the Rockets signed Nene to a heavily incentive laden contract to where it could technically count in trades as like an $8 million deal or whatever, when really he was only guaranteed like $800,000. So stuff like that isn't really good for the player, and I question how good it is for the game overall. It seems like it's only terrible. Good for owners.
It's terrible. I feel like it's terrible for everybody. Just a couple weeks ago, Jason Tatum was on JJ Redick's podcast, and he was talking about how he lost like $30 million because he missed out on an All-NBA selection maybe last year or something like that. And he was questioning just how like the people that they place in voting, and also the reason why they vote. The criteria is so fucking scatterbrained. The discourse, like you guys like to say, is fucking everywhere. There's no real fine lining as to what makes you an All-NBA player. Someone who puts up slightly, Jason Tatum was talking about this. He was like, someone who puts up slightly like worse numbers, or someone who has just like a great come up story that NBA season was, I'm assuming, someone like Julius Randle was what he was referring to, I'm assuming. But he was talking about how just
I didn't fully
players are not better than him.
I wasn't fully like, I don't know how to feel about that, because like I feel like Julius Randle did deserve that All-NBA selection over Tatum.
That was an example. That was just a random name.
But no, I think Randle was the one that people figured out. Like the math of the situation was like, this is the guy that took his spot, because he was like the last forward who got in before Tatum. So I'm like, I don't know that I disagree with that selection, though. So, like, I'm not saying there's not flaws to it, but I don't think that's an outrageous thing with how good Randle was last year and being how fucking awful the Celtics were that year.
Yeah.
This year, there'd be riots in the street because there's a very clear distinction. Even though Jason Tatum was better than Julius Randle, it's like, I don't know, it comes down to winning and stuff like that. I don't know. And I don't feel like it was that outrageous. I don't think it was that outrageous, but
Yeah, I don't think it was that crazy too, but I mean, like, if I'm Jason Tatum at the end of the day, if I ask 30 GMs around the league, who would you rather have, me or Julius Randle? Who's, you know what I'm saying, they're taking Tatum at the end of the day, but there's just a lot of context that goes behind it, which is interesting. But the next time they hash out a bunch of rules, that's gonna be like one of the top 3 things that they go ahead and hash out, the whole incentive shit, and also how voting works in the All NBA.
Yeah, I think that the next CBA is probably going to result in a lockout. I feel like lockouts are going to be a lot more normalized this century than they were last century.
What the fuck going on with the MLB?
I mean, it's the same story as with every lockout.
Was that a segue, Rudy?
You know, I didn't put the MLB in the topics, and it wasn't really a natural segue.
I thought I saw it in there.
I think it's the last thing on the docket. Maybe it's like, if we get to it, maybe we can get to. Oh yeah. It's a part of the WNBA notes, but that's at the end of the show. Don't let the people know how structured this is. This is an organic and entirely natural conversation between 3
All
friends.
this is off of the dome.
Yeah, man. I wanted to talk really more about the whole structure of media awards working for player incentives, right? Because that whole structure just leaves a point of corruption to be like very absolute in the media, right? Like all you got to do is manipulate these people who are voting for these awards just a little bit with whatever power you have as an owner in order to save yourself like $1 million or whatever, to keep money out of Jason Tatum's pockets and put it in yours, just by like winking and nudging at some reporter who has a vote and saying like, hey, you're on my good side if you vote for Julius instead of Jason. You don't even have to offer payment. You could just be like, yeah, I'll give you a story in a year or whatever. I'll leak some information to you. I'll be a source.
Yeah, I don't even understand. It's hard for me to even put myself in that place mentally, because to me, when I have a lot of money, I'm like, okay, I'm happy to give it away because I already have plenty. But I guess it's not because I'm not a capitalist pig.
Right. I can't imagine being that greedy. I really can't.
I can't imagine being a billionaire and being like, let me penny pinch this a couple $1 million incentive for, like, fuck off. I guess I can't say penny pinch a couple million, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, especially like
you can for
especially like $600,000 for Buddy Hield's contract. Like a billionaire owns the team. Like, fuck off! You can't pay that guy that. That's fucked up. And I realize, like, the whole thing that people do when you go to bat for players, especially in these instances, is like, we're talking about multimillionaires here. And even Jason Tatum in that clip on the JJ Redick podcast went out of his way to be like, hey, I'm doing fine financially, obviously. But it's not so much about, like, we're not worried about these guys' ability to live, but just the power structure. And it's about more than money. It's about the principle of everything else. This bigger power structure of these owners being able to just fuck these people over. And I'll tell you what, we're talking about star players and like all NBA stuff and like all-star selections or whatever. But where this stuff gets real fucked up is when we're talking about those guys who are bottom of the barrel on the roster. And those guys, no one even speaks up for them because they're scrubs. Which, hey, to be fair, like, if you want to have the capitalist mindset, be better at the game if you want more money.
There's going to be scrubs regardless.
But
on your roster,
you're not allowed to fuck. That doesn't mean it's okay to fuck them over. And if you look at the scale, like, there's a lot of conversation around player empowerment, and it's like, is it really player empowerment if only the top 25 players are empowered? And it's like, kind of true. This is a deep dive that I'm gonna do, but I think that's a lot of what people were talking about in the MLB thing. I don't know much about it because I don't watch baseball and I don't follow the league, whatever. But apparently, a lot of the discussion was more about those bottom guys, like the people who are in the minor leagues, and a lot of the conversation with the players was like, it wasn't the guys who were making $100 million who were really fighting for their stuff. It was like, these guys make like $50K. Maybe let's give them some more positive shit. And these billionaires are happy to fuck them over. And it's like, it's not just billionaires fucking millionaires. It's also billionaires fucking over a guy who's going to get one NBA paycheck for like 300 grand. That's a lot of money, but still, like, that's not lifelong fucking money for sure.
Right. It's not like feed your whole family and their kids money like it could be. Like they probably deserve for getting to that level.
Like I feel like a lot of people see a guy makes a couple $1 million and then immediately they're like, that means that guy can't be fucked over, really.
It's like, nah, that guy's got like 6 family members that he's like got to take care of for the rest of his life because they know that he made it to the league. At least, like I'm being a little hyperbolic, but like you look at a situation like Scottie Pippins and how like he ran himself broke or whatever by just taking care of the people he loves, and like that happens a lot.
But again, it's not even strict about the money; it is principle.
Right. It's all about the universal ethics, and I think that the thing with the MLB and the small contracts is that these guys really do only make just a little. You said $50K, and that's not an exaggeration. That's like a literal contract that you could get for being a farm player and not, a consistent starter for the Yankees or what the fuck ever.
Insane.
And the players union for the MLB historically is actually like what set a lot of the foundation for how we understand collective bargaining between leagues and players unions today. That's why the MLB doesn't have a salary cap, which is very good for the top end of talent to make $500 million over their contract or whatever. It's excellent for that. But where the NBA CBA is a little bit better, it's protecting the middle class and like developing class of NBA players where they're not guaranteed a max contract or anywhere close. And it's not a matter of Jason Tatum going like, oh, if I made this team, then I would make $30 million, qualify for the Supermax, blah, blah, blah. It's about, a guy in the G League getting a non-guaranteed but multi-million dollar over several years because he busted his ass and impressed the Thunder scouts or whatever, That is where the NBA's collective bargaining is a little bit better than baseball's, and I think that's the gap they're trying to close right now, which is absolutely commendable. In the end, though, I have to say it, the ultimate way to have like an ethical league is to either have it be publicly owned or cooperatively owned by the players themselves. Like LeBron could walk away from the NBA today and start a basketball league with all of his friends, and it would get enough eyes to fund it and to pay everyone fairly.
Here's the thing. Like, the reason why I'm always going to take the player's side, almost always. There's a rare instance where I won't. But in this case, like, the split of responsibility and who should make the money is way off. Like, even if it's like 50-50 and it's not, I think it's somewhere in the similar-ish ballpark. But if it was like 50% of all of the league's revenue goes to the players, and then 50% goes to everybody else who owns and operates the league, the owns and operates factor is not worth 50%. It's probably worth like 10-15. And even then, these NBA players, with the amount of money that they generate, could very easily just do that 15% themselves. So this split is 50-50, maybe, if we're being generous. It's probably far more in the direction of fucking these players over. And, we're getting fucking hot girls and boys come chat spam.
Yeah, block you.
Only if you're,
we've been doing good, boys.
Only if you're hot, though. If you're ugly, don't come.
We're famous. We got spam in the chat.
What the fuck was I talking about? We just got a bunch of spam bots in chat. What was I saying?
Damn, you're talking about
basically the level of progress from player empowerment versus ownership is not anywhere in the same vein of where it should be. And people are like, "Oh my god, how far is this going to go with player empowerment?" All that. It's barely fucking started for what it should be. We are dipping our toe in the pool. It's not even close to where it should be.
Right. That's the best part about the influence of Clutch and LeBron is that it set a domino effect that's going to take us in the right direction towards the people who actually generating the value getting closer to what they deserve rather than just being exploited but made out to be famous millionaires.
Yeah. And what's funny is that's kind of the capitalist mindset, but not really. is that the people generating the value should get the money, but that's not even really how capitalism works. It's really who
that's like the bootlicker capitalists, like
yeah, it's like who actually
like, but I like being exploited.
Who started it? Who was the first person to start the idea of something, and then everybody else fell in line. That's really more how it went. Like the people, the executives who own the league now, they're like executives before them set things up. So because they set things up, that means they've historically owned the power. But past setting things up, they haven't really done much to incentivize or to justify nearly the amount of power that they have.
Yeah. Not
when it comes down to it, we're here for the NBA players. We're not here for fucking James Dolan.
Yeah. I'm here for Robert Parra, though. He's a hooper, not a basketball player. The only hooper owner in the NBA is Robert Parra.
I don't know who that is.
The Grizzlies owner. He's the guy who challenged Tony Allen to one-on-one. And the coaches were like, please don't do that, Tony. Do not accept.
You're going to get kicked off the roster if you win.
Yeah, bro.
Exactly.
You're going to nerf all of his incentives.
But the owners also get to determine what is and is not basketball revenue basically every CBA. So stuff like concessions, not basketball revenue.
That is disgusting.
Yeah. So it's probably likely more than 50% at the end of the day. I'm going to use this as a nice, clean transition into what I put at the end of the show and go ahead and slap it here in the middle because I think it's a little bit more urgent and much more relevant. But the big WNBA scandal that's been going on has everything to do with ownership being greedy and just, a bunch of capitalist pigs. Have you guys seen anything about this?
Yeah.
No, I've seen like a few tweets that I've skimmed.
Okay. You can tell me about it, yeah. Dude, just seeing that whole thing, I was so thrown off. I read the tweet, no bullshit, at least like fucking 15, 20 times because I couldn't get my head wrapped around that. Like, they threw in the word terminated. Like, franchise could be terminated because the owner went ahead and paid and got them their own flights. Literally got them their own private flight or whatever. That's just so mind-numbing, and I'm just like, this is the organization. This is the organization that so many people have tried to push over like no other over the past like 3 years. I've never seen the WNBA pushed over the last 3-4 years like it has been like recently. And they do stuff like this. It's just like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Not even the foot, the head with that, bro.
It's pretty disgusting. I feel like the WNBA has had a lot of positive momentum, like you said. Yeah. Pretty much ever since Kobe put on the orange hoodie. Like that was probably
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah, it's like I feel like that's a good cultural signifier for people starting to wake up to the legitimacy of women's basketball.
I'll say I think a lot of it has also come from some of the talent recently, like Sabrina coming into the league. I don't know how good she's been, but I know there's a lot of hype with that. And there's this, I don't remember her name is. There's this girl that I've seen highlights on Twitter. She's hitting like 8 threes a game from like Curry range, and like she's about to be in the WNBA. I'm like, dude, this just. I'm not gonna bullshit you and pretend like I find WNBA basketball equally entertaining as NBA basketball, because if I felt that way, I'd be watching it. But I'm like, that just looks like fucking NBA basketball to me. That girl can shoot the fuck out of that ball, and I would watch that for sure. I think it just comes down to, I think that will be a huge factor as well. But it's been historically not marketed well, and the percentage given to the players has not been good either. And the argument people have made is like, well, they don't generate enough revenue. Well, it's like, if the league is not generating enough revenue, that is a failure from the league and the players, not just the players. So the players are taking the brunt of the loss, while the people who actually have the money invested in it are able to sit back and not deal with the consequences.
Right. It's really easy to just like write it off as like, oh, everyone's a misogynist and hates women, so they don't watch the WNBA. But like, that's not what's happening. There's a lot of forces at work.
And again, it's the fucking league's fault that it's not marketed itself well. That's not on the players.
Right. And it's like they've been doing really good with like the little rebrand they have with, their orange logo and the hoodie to match. Like I said, Kobe put it on and it made it super cool. But just this is such a huge hiccup for people who don't know. What happened was the New York Liberty got caught for using chartered flights, which are basically private planes, to move their team around the nation to play the games. Other NBA teams are on public ass flights, like they're using Delta. You know what I'm saying? Like you could
Other
catch a-
WNBA teams.
yeah, other WNBA teams.
You
For
I was
New
gonna
York
say,
Liberty-
I was gonna say in the NBA they got private jets. That's just the standard because it's the bigger league.
yeah, it's just like it makes a lot of sense for teams that are full of famous people and need to protect their bodies and stuff to not just be like with the people. I'm not exactly pro private plane in a universal sense, but for this sort of use case, it makes a lot. So the New York Liberty got caught, and the threats that came, like Mojo said, were as extreme as eliminating the New York Liberty from the WNBA. When this problem was brought forward to the rest of the league, the owner of the Liberty, I'm sorry, I don't remember their name, was kind of making a case for himself of not being a total fucking asshole, saying that like, hey, so I'm capable of doing this for my team. I know y'all are, but since you don't and you think I have a competitive advantage, I can arrange it to where it's at least like affordable for a little while. I'll even finance it, is how I believe it's been understood. And everyone can have private planes for like 3 years at least. I'll foot that bill. If y'all don't want to do that, then maybe we could bump the players' pay at least. And a resounding no came from every other owner. And so the WNBA does not look good because their owners are some of the greediest, even as much as other major sports franchises. Even though the sport isn't as major and generating money, some of those owners. One of the comment that stood out the most to me reading up on this was one of the owners said that they saw the value of their WNBA team as $0, and that every bit of investment that they make in that company, in their team, is a contribution to the greater good of women's sports. Basically,
what
charity.
I would like to see a bunch of NBA players go ahead and start their own fucking women's basketball league and do that shit the right way.
Yeah,
That's gonna be very possible.
That would be great. If the WNBA were to dissolve from like the result of a very effective player strike, and then they went and hired the right people and made the right connections, they could be bigger than like Ice Cube's Big Three League, like easily, so easily, and like the product is getting way better.
I personally am never gonna watch it because I don't have room for a league outside of the NBA. Period. Like I actually enjoy football almost as much as I enjoy watching basketball, but I don't have the time to watch the NFL. My life is already dedicated to the NBA as it is, so that wouldn't do anything for me personally. But I think for a casual viewer, that would do something. But I don't know. It's hard to say for sure.
I just have to see stories in the media, like put alongside other mainstream sports. Like growing up as a kid, watching Sports Center and whatever other debate shows are on the TV when it's on. I see like the NFL and the NBA and the NHL and MLB all just put up next to each other with the Olympics and whatever other special events, maybe even the X Games. Never, ever, ever is it.
You know what it is?
Never.
You know what it is? It is one of my favorite terms. I use it at any time I can. The self-fulfilling prophecy. These media outlets go, people don't watch the WNBA, but whose responsibility is it for exposing these people to this league? It would be the media. So if people don't watch something, most of the time it's the media's fault they're not watching something. It's like when fucking Nick Wright was like, Nikola Jokic doesn't bring ratings. Maybe it's because you don't fucking talk about Nikola Jokic. Maybe that's why Nikola Jokic doesn't bring ratings. He's one of the most exciting players in fucking basketball if you give a shit about the sport outside of the fancy aesthetic. But fucking they don't, that's not what they cover. So it's a self-fulfilling thing. They say this isn't how it is, therefore it is. But it's only that way because you've said that's how it is.
You know what would help the WNBA? I feel like one of the reasons why the NBA is like there's just I could be biased. I'm biased. Don't give a damn. But from what I see, even trying to put all the bias out, what makes the NBA so dramatically different from any other sport is how dramatic the NBA is and all the drama. People fucking eat up and love all the chaos that goes on. Not this much chaos, in my mind at least, happens with any other sport. Now, yes, I think the NFL is 2, and then baseball, I guess, could be 3. But I feel like the WNBA needs a lot of that chaos, or at least maybe they have that type of chaos. It just doesn't get picked up or covered and ate up enough. I'm not sure. I'm not in those spaces just yet, but I think that'll be a good remedy to go ahead and throw in there.
And it's not like there's not fodder for that either. Like the backcourt for the championship, for the most recent championship squad in the WNBA, it was Phoenix, right?
I thought it was Chicago.
Am I crazy? Oh yeah, no, they played Phoenix. It was the Chicago Sky. That's right.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm still working on my WNBA knowledge. Everyone, please don't roast me. But their backcourt is married. You know, their wives.
I didn't even know that until now.
You know,
That's adorable. I love that.
Yeah.
Right, you know, cover that. Tell the people. Put your stats together compared to other backcourts in the league. Give me knowledge. Tell me how often they pass to each other compared to other guards.
People eat that shit up. Like, of course, basketball's fun as hell, and you know what I'm saying, the highlights are amazing. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it real. Most of NBA YouTube is about narratives. Majority of NBA YouTube is about narratives, and people eat that shit up.
It's most of everything is about narrative. People are storytellers. We're storytelling beings. You know?
Exactly. I just do
don't
not
get WNBA stories.
The NBA at all.
Yeah.
So
it's developing. It's coming out more. And I think by the time we're fucking 30 or whatever, maybe by the time I'm 30, you know, we'll see it put alongside other mainstream sports. But for now, with like ownership being super greedy and the media structure that it's working within not really being super fleshed out, just developing, it's just not going to sit in people's minds in terms of like being a major sport. People are going to not consider it a laughing stock inherently, but they're going to see it as second rate.
Yeah, this is the opinion of 3 men with a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who decided to give us microphones. We don't deserve it. But that is our thoughts on the WNBA situation. Just a bunch of greed and a bunch of bullshit. Let's talk about the NBA, though. The darling of the
you know
NBA.
how many times I went ahead and like muted myself and farted? There's gonna be one time where I slip up and I don't mute myself, and it's gonna be so awkward. And when that moment happens, bro, God damn
like
it,
that old
Bill Muhammad, you fucked up. There's just a message to my future self not to fuck up.
Rudy was in the middle of making a transition right as you said that too.
I know. I just had to say it. Not to be rude, but I just
Did you know?
I vote yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyways, go for it, Rudy.
I mean, John Morant's the best player in the league, right? Let's just
okay, let me say this. There's a lot of discourse around John Morant MVP right now. I don't think the idea of him being an MVP deserves the volatility one way or the other that it's getting. You know, I say that about almost any narrative, but genuinely, the passion and anger I'm seeing on both sides of this conversation is insane to me. Yeah. I don't think he is MVP. I don't think it's crazy to say he's MVP, though. I really don't, especially in this year when it's so open. Like, I literally have a video planned for all of us are going on a trip to Atlanta outside of Mojo. He's going on a trip like maybe 20 minutes down the block. Yeah. But video planned ahead of schedule, which is the title is I still don't know who the MVP is. We're 60 fucking games into this season, and there is still not a clear-cut MVP. I have my pick. Right now I would give it to Joel Embiid, but it's not a clear thing whatsoever. And that's crazy. So for me, if you want to say Ja Morant was like teetering in this conversation, he was on the outskirts, but like a name you said, which is what I would say he was before. But for the last 14 games, he's averaging 30 plus. Fine.
And also, it's important to go ahead and eye out that the fucking Warriors are like 4-6 of their last 10, and the Grizzlies are like 8-2 in their last 10.
Oh yeah, they're gonna finish. They're gonna take
as the
Warriors
Memphis
2-2.
Grizzlies eclipse the Warriors, which it's gonna happen. I don't know when Draymond Green's coming back, but it's gonna happen. I think John Morant's gonna be a lock for MVP as long as he keeps on doing the crazy shit.
I don't know about lock. I don't think
he's gonna be. I think
if we get the number 1 seed in the West, I think it's a lock.
Oh yeah, and Devin Booker's out for safety. I don't think they're catching him at 1. But Devin Booker's out, and the game started a while ago. How are they doing against the Blazers?
For real though,
oh my God, they put 30 on their head. Jesus Christ!
But I'm pretty sure not the Warriors game. What was the team that the Spurs when he had 52?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he played the Bulls right before that. That was the game before the Spurs game, right?
He had 46 before that.
Yeah, so that's 98 points in 2 games.
I mean, his whole February run was absolutely ridiculous. Over the course of February, he was averaging 33, 5.5 rebounds, and 6 assists. 3.3 turnovers, so not like Tyus Jones or nothing. But
really, Tyus is better if we're being honest.
Right, that's what I'm trying to tell people. But no one believes me.
On the someone gonna make that video.
Look, but there was also that post from I forget who cited, like who even has this information, but it was a viral post that went around a lot lately. It's talking about how he's the most viewed player, on like NBA social medias. That's not named LeBron or Curry. So like
that is insane.
When I talk about like Ja Morant, like popping and having the it factor and like being a superstar and these sort of things, this is what I'm talking about. These sorts of details. Like, sure, if you want to like leave it all on the floor and like make it a material analysis of the game of basketball, sure, we can talk about that sort of definition of superstar.
Okay.
When it comes to superstardom exists outside of the floor.
Let me say this to you, Rudy, and this will be satisfying to you. I don't agree with that assessment. I mean, I agree and I disagree. You know what I mean? So, like, if you want to say like a player in a meta sense and like in like just a media or a fanhood sense can be a superstar without being a basketball player superstar, looking at it purely on the floor, I agree with that. And I would say, yeah, Ja falls in that category. So for your specific definition, I would agree. But my definition was strictly basketball, and I didn't think Ja Morant was in that tier. That said, my strictly basketball tier, Ja Morant is a superstar.
About time. And also, I remember we had
no. Don't give me this about time. He averaged 17 last year. That was perfectly fucking fair. He's a completely different basketball player this year.
He averaged 19.
Steve Nash averaged like 17 when he won an MVP.
Okay, he averaged like 14 assists on 50-40-90.
League is different. League is different now.
And it's a drastically different pace. Don't give me that bullshit.
Yeah. And something that I also wanted to say too is that I remember last year we had some type of conversation about, I think it was either on Twitter or we were talking on a podcast or something like that. And I told you that like usually you said that there's like 5 superstars in the NBA, and I told you that like that old thinking, that like 2015 thinking is you need to evolve with the times of basketball.
I think you probably said 7 or so, but
and that like whatever you said, that number is expanded like not like a motherfucker, but it definitely expanded. I think there's just certain players that you cannot.
It feels like there's like 12 now.
Yeah, I feel like there's like fucking 12, 14, something like that. I don't want to sit here and name it, but goddamn. But like what you were saying, Rudy, when it comes to just Ja Morant and like all the things he does outside of basketball, I think what the NBA would want is someone like Ja Morant to be the face of the NBA, because he just screams like, you know what I'm saying, NBA culture, and he's like really relatable to a lot of players. Just a couple weeks ago, when there was the All-Star game, Ja Morant, there was a Ja Morant, I think he was on IG Live or something like that, had grills on his mouth, had a Henny to his face, and he was listening to NBA Youngboy, and some New Orleans Pelicans fans was like, God damn, we drafted the wrong dude, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think he was listening to some other rapper from New Orleans. I don't know. But just things like that is just like, yeah, man, he's that dude. He has things that I don't want to say Curry, my bad. Trey Young, he has things that Luka Doncic, he has things that Nikola Jokic, and he just has a lot over them off of the court. He's unmatched off of the court.
I think it's important also to realize that back when Ja Morant and Zion Williamson were definitely in the same draft class and coming into the NBA at the same time, you know me, I personally believe virtually every NBA draft lottery is rigged at least a little.
Yeah.
I think that season, the NBA did what they did, rigged the draft lottery to where the 2-player draft had the 2 smallest markets get the top 2 picks to raise the floor on the value of the league, because the small market teams hemorrhage money from the large market teams based on the way it's functioning right now. So having these small market teams generate their own money by having the most supreme next gen talent is a really good strategy for the NBA.
Yeah,
Zion was the first try in New Orleans, and so far it's really not working. But Ja Morant is making Memphis iconic for the world, not just a Memphis hero.
Right now, like the NBA very clearly pushed the Zion agenda immediately. They're like,
hard.
Oh my god, like,
and
hard.
Now they realize it's not going to work, and they're pushing Ja hard.
The alternative universe, and this is the one I think we all would hope happens, is Zion returns, and then that vision we had of him does come to fruition, even if it took a little longer.
As a New York Knick.
But then, instead of getting 1 ace, the NBA got 2. Now, it wouldn't be as a Knick anymore, because that kind of defeats the purpose. But like for that goal of elevating those small markets, if anything, it would do the opposite. If Zion left the Pelicans, that team might literally leave New Orleans if Zion left the Pelicans.
Speaking about like young stars leaving and shit like that, you know what the craziest shit I seen like in a very long time was? I saw some Laker fans talking about how, or was it Hornets fans? Either Lakers or Hornets fans, I don't know. But I saw some shit about LaMelo Ball. Fans were talking about, I don't want LaMelo Ball to go ahead and leave. I think it was on some sports show. They talked about it too. Like Max Kellerman and someone else talked about it as well.
That could seem like bullshit to me. They're just talking.
And they were talking about LaMelo leaving. He just screams LA, and I'm just like, why? I'm like, this is the most cataclysmic. That would be the most cataclysmic thing to happen, like in NBA history in my mind. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but it's just like, why? It's just like,
Rudy, I realize what you're laughing at, that we're also just talking. But like they were saying bullshit, and it was like completely unsubstantiated bullshit. And some people in the replies or in the quote tweets were like, "Oh my god, I hope this doesn't happen."
Right.
Like,
we're not forced to
make it right now.
Why are you talking about this right now?
Because they're forced to make as much content as possible to get as many views as possible. They're not meant to do anything but that.
I don't give a shit. I mean, I could very easily see LaMelo leaving the Hornets, but the state the Lakers are in right now and are going to be in for like the next 5 seasons, I don't know how LaMelo finds his way there. He could very easily be
a world where Lonzo and LaMelo go ahead and team up on the Lakers for sure.
That'd be sick. That'd be so sick.
What would be sick?
They reeled me in with that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you.
The Ball Bros in LA.
That would be disgusting.
No, LaMelo should just come to the Bulls. The Ball Bros in Chicago.
That would be nasty as well, though.
Who? What's your trade package for LaMelo Ball with the trade deadline's extended to tomorrow and Chicago?
Patrick Williams, Kobe White, 3 or 4 first round picks. Though it'd have to be the offseason because the Bulls can't trade their picks until this draft. Steffian rule on that bullshit.
You start it off. Trade your 2K My League. If you can move the trade deadline like tomorrow, why can't you just turn that shit off?
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
So let me get straight to it. You wouldn't trade Zach?
No.
For LaMelo?
No.
Look, I know Zach is better right now, but I feel like LaMelo is probably going to be better in a year or two. So that's
I'm thinking more short term right now.
Yeah,
personally.
This is as open as the East is. This is definitely a great chance for the Bulls to steal a championship, like really good Phoenix Sun style.
We didn't really go over my hesitance with the Bulls right now, but yeah, I'm making a second channel video about it. Maybe it's just because I don't allow myself to soar too high, but I'm just like, no, I don't see it really. I did at one point, but I don't really anymore. And Lonzo and Alex are really good, but people acting like those two are the end all be all between this team being a mediocre playoff team and an absolute contender. It's like, pump the brakes on that.
Quick.
Obviously,
who's more important to their team?
You're wrong.
Alex Caruso or Bogdan Bogdanovic?
Alex Caruso.
Mojo? Rebuttal?
Can we play? Okay, well, shit. I was gonna say something, but I was like, oh wait, Alex is still out. We play you guys tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, you know it's bullshit. We should have planned. We should have planned this fucking trip
also,
for us to be in Atlanta tomorrow, when the Bulls are playing in Atlanta. I can't believe we had that.
We're terrible planners. But anyways, Bogdan's more important because we don't have easy replacement plug and play pieces like the Chicago Bulls do. And
yeah, the Bulls could put Ayo Dosunmu in his role, and it covers a lot of the bases. But
exactly,
I'm just curious because I would argue Bogdan has as much impact on the Hawks' offensive rating as Alex Caruso does on the Bulls. On the Bulls' defensive rating.
That's what I thought you were going. Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of like net ratings and stuff like that, you know that like a lot of advanced stats say that Hassan Whiteside's the best fucking player in the NBA by a mile.
Well, I think it's because he's finally in a more limited position. He was even doing much better in Portland. Like I really feel like Hassan Whiteside is one of the best backup centers in the league, but God, don't make him your starter.
Yeah, that's fair.
Most definitely.
I mean, there's also, I'm pretty sure Boban Marjanovic has the highest PER of all time. So it's like, yeah.
That's how you do it. You just come in for about 20 seconds. You get like a couple offensive rebounds and a putback, and you're good. Infinite offensive rating or whatever. I will say, I thought, how do you say his first name? I know it's like Ayo Dosunmu. Okay. Every time I would see the Bulls play and I saw him on the floor, I was like, who is this knockoff Ja Morant?
Who is this? The hair. You say that with Darius Garland too?
No, he's not the same number.
Can I say I meant to make this joke while we were talking about Ja Morant, but like you guys were like, and then Rudy just went, and really what's most important about Ja, and I wanted to cut you off and just be like, and most importantly with Ja Morant.
You've been working on it. I've been noticing it too. Good job.
And most importantly with Ja Morant, he has the best haircut in the NBA.
People don't talk about it. Best hair in the league. I think his hair is bringing him closer to the basketball gods, and that's why he's thriving so much.
I'm not going to lie. If he had a worse haircut, I wouldn't like him as much.
Face the league.
The dye on his red suit, I'm like the two.
Like, yeah, it's fucking fire. Like at least 10% less. I would like Ja Morant if he had like just a buzz cut.
A wave cut. Yeah, exactly. I ain't gonna lie. He would not be hitting like that. So you're all right about that. Everything about that is just immaculate.
One day, Ja Morant's going to change his hair, and it's going to be like a buzz cut, and it's going to break everyone's heart. They're not going to realize. They're not going to realize what they had until they lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely going to decline as a player.
real quick, I did want to spark this debate because I promised someone in the comments I would, and it's in the docket. We brought it up a little bit last show, I think, and we definitely talked about it in the group chat. But Ja or Luka, straight up.
Luka.
It's like it feels like the thing you should say, right? But like, I mean, I'm a fan. I can't help.
You're too caught up. You too caught up.
I'm too happy about having Ja on my team, man.
And that's okay. I mean, he's too happy, but
even if he's 1% worse, but 10%. I mean, who am I kidding? 110% more entertainment.
If Luka had that team around him, they would be the number one seed in the.
Oh yeah,
easy.
Sure.
Well, then you just admitted that Luka's better by
exactly. And if Ja was on the shitty Dallas Mavericks, they like the 8th seed in my mind.
Let me say this. And this is even more hyperbolic than what Mojo said. If Luka was in Ja's place on that Grizzlies team, that would be my championship favorite.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. I hate to admit it, but I mean it's true.
That's not a slight on Ja. Just like
Luka's that guy.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with Ja. It's just Luka.
I know. It's not even like some bullshit like, oh, he's longer and can play defense better or some shit. Like, it's nothing like that. It's just like,
over the head of passers. It's none of that shit.
Yeah. I mean, John Morant is, one of the most exceptional and best playmakers in the league when it comes to passing ability. But I mean, Luka's probably a smidgen better and just has like crazy three balls.
Yeah. Now
Sure,
this
he's nice.
was us all indirectly saying that Luka is way better than MVP Derrick Rose. So
Now that's something that could like get ran away with on Twitter.
well,
Being,
it
"Oh,
already
let's-
has. I've seen that happen before
Uh-huh.
because people with that, I don't know what it is, but Derrick Rose 2011 gets talked about on Twitter to such an extreme extent that like Luka in his second year, I remember it post going viral. Luka right now or 2011 Derrick Rose. It was when Luka was in his second year, averaging like 29, 9, and 9 on like 60% true shooting, and I was like, I'm not gonna say it because everyone's gonna yell at me, but dude, it's Luka. Luka's in his second year is already better than MVP Derrick Rose, and that's okay. MVP Derrick Rose is still good, but there are better players.
Yeah. Goddamn, I love this league and just how talented players are.
That is an interesting. I'm looking at the chat. This is an interesting question from Ian. Who is the third best point guard in the NBA right now?
Because it's Curry,
Because it's Curry and
maybe
Ja.
maybe Harden's the third best.
We're saying Harden's a 2.
Okay, that's reasonable.
It's kind of between. If Harden is in there, it'd be it. To me, it's Trey.
Why is Luka not in there?
Luka, do we have to do the?
I'll go by height. I
hate this position argument shit all the time because it's so irrelevant. I'm assuming Rudy will be back here soon.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta go Trey personally, and I was on the Trey is maybe like a smidge better than Ja thing a little bit, but this run that he's been on recently, the smidge has gone in Ja's favor. But really, the conversation probably comes down to Trey Young versus Kyrie Irving if we're taking Luka and Harden out of the combo.
I'm taking Trey all day over Kyrie for sure. For sure.
Right now, yeah, I'm taking Trey over Kyrie. I think Trey versus Ja is a super interesting discussion. Ja,
I have a
probably
take about
possible
Kyrie
right now. I know Grant Williams said that Ja is better than Trey, and that Ja is the MVP like right before or after they played the Hawks.
Grant Williams, the Celtics?
Yeah. It was like right before or
Who
right
asked
after.
him? Who cares what he has to say? I mean, who cares what we have to say either?
I didn't see a clip. I only saw a tweet. But Grant Williams was basically just digging at Trey right before or right after their game, saying that Ja is the MVP.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that he used Ja to dig at Trey.
Yeah,
because they're so close in talent.
Yeah,
they just do so different things for a point guard.
I had a point and my mind went blank.
Hot take about Kyrie.
Kyrie is not a 1 and has never been made to be a 1. He is the way that he is built to be an unbelievable second option, but he's not mentally built, nor is his game really built to be the best player on a championship team.
Exactly. 10,000% agree. That's part of the reason why I say someone like Damian Lillard is a better player because he's more built to be a championship.
Oh yeah, fucking Dame.
Yeah.
We're not gonna mention Dame and
this season. We're talking about this season.
Sure, but okay, if we're moving on past that.
Yeah.
Trey or Dame or Kyrie. I am going to give Dame the benefit of the doubt over Trey right now, but I could very easily see that flip-flopping.
Yeah, that is very tough.
I'm really biased to just like being in the moment and dudes hitting clutch shots and shit. So I love Dame. When Dame was on fire in the bubble, I think. Or
that was when you were in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man, Dame might be a top 5 player. Like he's pushing that. Fence. I don't really feel that way, But
we're missing a really important name here. Ayo Dosunmu.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's the end of the stream, boys.
Right. Good night.
No, for real though, anybody. But here's the thing: I feel like generally fan bases over-exaggerate their young players, and you'll hear Bulls fans are like, "Oh my God, Ayo Dosunmu." I am telling you. If you haven't seen this guy play, he is on pace to be one of the greatest second-round picks of all time, without a doubt.
I'm gonna say this not because I don't believe what you're saying, but the last rookie that you went
I
absolute
know.
bonkers over the
I
Bulls
know.
rookie was Larry Markkinen. Boy got his
Oh no.
hometown.
It was
You
Patrick
have a
Williams.
before Patrick Williams, and I still have hope.
Let
in Patrick
me
Williams.
let me tell you about Ayo Dosunmu real quick. All right.
I know about him. I was watching him in Illinois.
Let me tell you about him in the NBA, motherfucker.
Go ahead.
This guy is already all defensive team level caliber defensively. If he was given a full season with starters minutes, he'd be in that conversation. He is statistically a good three-point shooter, even though his form and his attempts would suggest it's not his biggest strong suit. He's an elite playmaker in spite of the fact that he really can't shoot. Really can't dribble, rather. His handle is rather shit. But he'll still consistently have games where he has 8 to 13 assists. I believe he had a 15 assist game once this year. His finishing is whatever. But he's even had a mid-range game that he has displayed. He's just so good, and then the little things, all the hustle type stuff, all of those kind of things. Ayo Dosunmu does that and then some. And Rudy, if you could do me a favor and pull up his basketball reference and go to his game logs and then sort by assists, see how many fucking games he's had with super high assist numbers. In spite of the fact that, again, this guy can barely dribble. Like, he is not good at dribbling for an NBA guard, but his vision and his passing is so good. And here's the big thing. Here's the big thing. His mid-season improvement. Actually, before you sort by assists, wait a second. How many games has he played?
57.
Just go to about like 25. Go from game 1 to 25 and look at his assist numbers. So like click the top one and then go to 20. Yeah,
I know how that works.
You got it. How many assists per game?
1.
Now go from after that to most recent.
Four and a half.
Yeah. I'm telling you. The guy decided to be an elite playmaker the second half of the season.
Was it that he decided, or was he allowed to?
I think it's a combination of both. He got a little bit more opportunity. But the first half of the season when I was talking about it, I was like, I'm telling you guys, this guy's a way better playmaker than 1 assist per game, because that's what he was averaging at the time. It's like, I could just see it, that he's a way better passer than this. And then he got that opportunity, and then he started doing it more. And he's can you go back to it? I'm sorry. You go back to it and then just look. Just a sort by assist and see how many 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 assist games he has.
With how big he is and how he moves, and again how he dribbles, a lot of people would assume that he's like a 3 or a 2.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying, a lot of people forget he was a fucking point guard in college.
He's
for
such
3 years.
I can't. He's so good. Yeah, and this makes me kind of recontextualize the. There you go. Look, 7, 8, and then he has a 14 assist game in there.
Wow.
But it makes me kind of recontextualize the Vucevic trade, because the big part of that was they lost that Franz Wagner pick.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, Franz Wagner all time is going to be better, and is probably a little bit better right now. But Ayo is so fucking good that I barely feel the sting of the loss of that pick, because we got Ayo Dosunmu in the second round. So it's like we traded a lottery pick just to get a lottery talent in the second round anyways.
I have questions on how much of his potential he can reach. You know, I won't call Iowa a lottery talent right now, just because I'm unsure about how much opportunity he's going to get.
If you do a redraft, he is going in lottery without hesitation. I'm certain of that.
If you do a redraft, he's going a lot. Could you pull up the draft real quick? Let me see that.
Hell yeah.
I'm still taking guys like Jalen Green over him just because like
Yeah,
them
for
men.
sure.
Let me see
sure.
that. Let me.
But like
let me-
after like pick 10, how many like guys is it where their potential supersedes how good Io is right now?
That's a good question. Let me go ahead or let Rudy go ahead and see that. But yeah, I like this. I like this conversation. Now, I definitely do think that Io, if it was a redraft, he would be. I thought he was going to be a fucking top 20 pick. I thought it was
Yeah,
a
a lot of people
no-brainer.
were surprised he fell so far.
Yeah, I was so confused. But redraft, do I want Jalen Suggs over? See, I don't know. See, this is where things get really interesting. Okay, so Jalen Mobley.
Those top 8
and
picks,
Suggs.
other than Suggs, so that's 7.
Okay, Davion Mitchell. I liked him, but I was never a super fan of him.
Yeah, I'll take an
Elite
Io over
defender,
Davion.
right? Like top 5 perimeter defender already though in Davion.
Yeah.
That is true.
I don't know about top 5, but right now I've seen 7 players I would take.
I would take Io over Moses Moody for sure.
I don't
Are
know.
you telling me you're not taking Chris Duarte?
No. Io is better than Chris Duarte, and they're both older players. So what difference does it make?
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
just
Trey
I'm
Man.
acting like I
He's
know who
squeaked in
Chris
there.
Duarte is.
Do we
Yeah, no,
take-
he's not better than Trey Man. He's not better than Trey
do-
Man.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's 8.
You're
That's
insane.
8
He's not better
picks.
than Trey Man.
That's 8 picks we're taking over Io at this point. I don't know. Isaiah Jackson's been good with the Pacers, but no.
Josh Christopher? I know that name from
you
2K.
could go a little faster than this.
That's a
Rudy.
toss up. Bones.
Not taking Cam Thomas. And then was Herb Jones taken before or after? I can't remember. Io or Herb?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not even a question right there.
You're going with Io? I think Herb's a little bit better than you're giving credit for, but I would take Io. So I think that was 8 players.
I'm looking at bigger picture. Like I think I'm only taking Io over her because I think bigger picture he's gonna be like the better player 10 years from now.
So that was 8 players that I counted that I would take. It was Trey Mann and then the top 8 minus Jalen Suggs. And even if you want to say Jalen Suggs has more potential long term, which I might even be inclined to agree, that's still just 9.
Yeah, he squeaks in there for me. Definitely.
Look at us doing full-blown redraft analysis on the fly. We're a real legitimate podcast. Everyone.
That's actually could be a good avenue for content if we're strapped for stuff to talk about. Let's randomly redraft the 2014 NBA draft.
I would eat that shit up, bro.
Yeah.
I would eat that shit up.
That sounds fun.
Let's get in some chat questions. Shout out to the hundred or so people that have been hanging out with us the whole time.
Evan Mobley.
Petite asked the Rookie of the Year. Jacob says Evan Mobley, and I agree.
I don't think it's close either.
Yeah. And the dude is on a Tim Duncan trajectory, which is
very defensive of that comparison, as you know with the AD shit. Yeah. Evan Mobley is on a Tim Duncan trajectory.
Yeah, I would give it to Evan Mobley, but goddamn, depending on how Detroit and Cade finishes this shit out, I view this as similar to LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. LaMelo was doing it the entire year, just like Evan Mobley, and Anthony Edwards. He started to pick it up as the season went on.
That also kind of happened with Luka and Trey.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing happened, and history repeats itself. Mobley's gonna win that shit for sure.
I mean, if Cade was absolutely electric for his last 20 games, maybe.
He'd have to be close to John Morant type of electric. And no one's watching. No one's tuning in to watch Jeremy Grant bricks. I'm sorry, no one's doing that shit, bro.
Why did you flash that comment?
I
think your butt briefly showed when you got up to take care of something. So.
Fantastic. Yeah, the something is my chinchilla. He was moaning for something to chew on or a treat.
Not the only one who was moaning after you showed that dumpy.
Apparently. See, this is the value I bring to the videos I edit for you. is people come to this podcast for hoping I show something. One day I will sell P-Picks. That's my ultimate aspiration with this whole shtick.
Oh my goodness.
I want to let's see. I like this one because Trey has been loyal. He's been in this chat the whole time, and he was all up in our last stream.
Lots of questions answered.
Yeah. Probability of the Grizzlies making the conference finals.
Right.
I'm gonna say 40%.
I don't
Wow.
know. It depends. Why don't we pull up the Western Conference standings right now?
All right, let's do it. Let's do
That
it.
boy said 40. Wow.
But I'm just saying the Suns and the Dubs are pretty fucking untouchable. Like we can get past the Dubs maybe if we get lucky. But I'm legitimately afraid of the Suns. They seem
If-
like the only truly elite team in the league right now.
If fucking Curry continues to not remember how to shoot.
Right? I don't know if he just like got hot with the new ball to start, or if the new ball had any effect on him at all. I have no idea. But at first, he seemed like a dude who was one of the only people not affected. By the new
Eventually,
ball.
that shit's no longer an excuse.
Yeah.
Eventually, you've gotten used to it.
It's like I'll talk about it for the first 20 games or so, but after that, it's just going to be select guys not being quite hip enough to the new ball.
But let's just say like the Western Conference stays as it is right now, which is not. I could see this being what the standings look like by the end of the year. Well, actually, let's just flip the Warriors and the Grizzlies because I'm pretty certain that's going to happen. So let's say the Grizzlies are the
That changes so much because MPJ and Jamal coming back and they sheesh.
Yeah, I'm
That
making
changes
a
a lot.
I'm making a second channel video about the Nuggets because like I feel like a lot of people have completely forgotten the fact that both of those guys returning from injury could do something. That said, I don't feel the chemistry is going to quite be there. On
Yeah.
top of the fact that I think the Grizzlies have a really good matchup for Jokic.
Yeah.
Because
But
Steven Adams can be
Adams,
that
baby.
like brick wall, and then Jaren's help defense. There's not a lot of help defenders I'd rather have for Jokic than Jaren. So defending Jokic is a team effort, obviously.
I'd love to see that matchup.
But
Goddamn.
the one-on-one defense, like nobody's holding Jokic one-on-one.
Yeah.
But I feel like the collective team defense is good enough to at least not allow him to feast. And then Jamal and MPJ, I mean, it really depends on A, how good they come back individually, and then B, what their chemistry looks like because they haven't played basketball together in so damn long.
Sheesh. And he,
But
we
I- if
haven't
I'm-
even seen AG play with them all for real too.
If I'm making a prediction, 7 games Grizzlies win.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that for sure. I think there's a good chance that the
A first round exit would be real disappointing for this team after this year. Even if it's a justifiable one, like damn.
I don't think it's possible we exit in the first round this year. Frankly, I think getting to the first round last year was a huge stepping stone, and now we need to
Like
exceed that.
The Nuggets can take that team out. It's not with everyone healthy. So not out of the realm of possibility. It's past your bedtimes, Alex Hoops. Man, I go to bed at like 4 a.m. most of the time.
I don't. Bitch, I got school tomorrow.
Alex,
I don't-
we used your video when we were talking about Io DeSomo.
I haven't had school since 3 years ago. It's pretty sick.
That's fucking ridiculous.
So okay, Memphis makes it out of the first round versus the Nuggets. So then they play either the Suns, Warriors, or Jazz, assuming that there's not a first round upset. So I believe I wish there was like a bracket in front of me that'd make this shit easier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that means they get the Suns in the second round. Suns or Warriors in the second round. So yeah, Rudy might be right about like you probably have to face one of those two in the second round. If you get the Jazz, then you're game. Like you're good. But
Yeah.
I wish
They
there
weren't
was-
good last year. They literally held out Donovan Mitchell just for fun.
Yeah, like I think the Grizzlies beat the Jazz this year.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with no Joe Ingles.
Oh yeah, it's not even. I don't want to say it's not even close, but the Jazz are being way too discombobulated.
I'm not gonna say it's not even close when Ja was playing like he is right now in the playoffs versus the Jazz, and it was still just a 5-game series. I would say not.
Yeah,
close.
but his teammates also. I say what makes me
I
think
give
better
the
than
Jazz-
his
I say the
teammates
Jazz
elevated like a
six.
motherfucker too. His team is so much better than last year.
The Jazz are losing a matchup to the Mavs. That's interesting. I do think that's very well possible.
I don't know. I don't believe in the other pieces for the Mavs. I don't put that much trust into.
If Chris Paul isn't healthy, the Grizzlies can win a 7-game series. I'd say that's true, but I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be healthy by the time that series comes around. Granted, with Chris Paul, things happen even when they shouldn't anymore. Like guy went vegan, didn't get injured for 2 years, and still got injured in the first round versus the Lakers.
Written in history.
He's cursed for being such a dirty player. I don't think what Chris Paul does is like dirty. I think it's more of a gamesmanship. He has to because he's 6 feet tall. Frankly, dude's 5'11".
Yeah, you're trying to justify that because you're a little tiny man too. But
so I gotta do like little conniving bullshits to get a leg up in athletic competitions. I accidentally elbowed Muhammad when we were playing basketball.
Last time we played basketball, Rudy brought a gun. It was not cool.
It's true. Yeah. I did not participate in 21, but I did shoot someone.
Dude, we're gonna play so much basketball.
Yeah, I'm trying to play like every day.
Yeah,
I'm just worried that my shoulder is fucked. I'm really hoping it recovers quickly because if
with the shotgun,
I went to the range and shot my shotgun the other day. For the chat that may not be aware of my Twitter, I'm a full red-blooded American now, and I own 2 firearms. So
Republican.
Well, I bought a shotgun, a 12 gauge, and I fired it the other day, and man, that shit kicks. Yeah.
That's so fire. Republican Rusty in the building.
No, don't start that. Republican Rusty. We're not doing that.
Spam it in the chat. Republican Rusty. Spam it in the chat.
Cuts, woo.
I hate everything about that. Holy shit. I think we come to a conclusion. We have anything else left to talk about?
Unless you guys just want to talk about the Celtics being like the hottest team in the East, the same as John Morant's been the hottest player in the NBA.
Jaylen Brown out with an injury.
We're approaching 2 hours. I think we've given these people enough free content.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, everyone.
All right, Rusty. No.
Yeah, definitely not. Leave a like right now, please.
Yeah, leave a like.
Leave a fucking like.
Where were we at? Like,
it's so simple.
Leave a like. Send this podcast to all your friends and people that you don't like.
How do we have under 100 likes right now?
We peaked at like 150 viewers.
Yeah.
We have 95 likes. I gotta start saying that shit more.
It takes 1 second and makes a huge
massive difference.
Massive difference. So
I actually changed it in the script for this Lakers video. What did I say? Also drop a like. It only takes 1 click and it really helps me out.
Wow.
Why does the dude on the left look like that?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Jeffrey? What do you mean by that?
Well, you're also the closest.
100 likes. There we go.
Yeah, look at
that. It's gonna be the last thing they see on this stream. Now we done lost.
Come on, Mojo, join us.
Yeah, get up close and personal, and then I'm gonna roll the intro and then hit cut.